Welcome to this episode of The Power of Women Using Their Voices. I am here with the incredible Trisha Brouk. Trisha, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Marissa. I am so honored to be here with you today.
Oh, the honor is all mine. Trisha is an award-winning international director. She is the executive producer of Speakers Who Dare. She is the curator of the Speaker Salon and the founder of the Big Talk Academy, and many, many more things. But Trisha, I'm noting a theme here.
The theme being, I believe everyone needs to own their big talk, and being able to put people onto big stages or onto the big screen with my documentary has become a mission that I take very seriously. I wake up every morning believing wholeheartedly that I will make the world a better place by elevating people who have important messages and giving them the platform to speak, to have, and to use their voice. So I'm super excited about your episode of The Power of Women Using Their Voices. I'm here to help in any way I can.
Well, thank you. And just knowing from personal experience, if you are a speaker, if you are someone who has a message that you believe in and that you want to have an even greater impact, Trisha is somebody to reach out to. Apply for Speakers Who Dare. I know this year it's closed, but this is something that is a foundation that is being laid for a huge event that will continue from year to year. As a former applicant, I can tell you that even the process, you have put together a process of application that is so rich in support and feedback that even if the person is not selected, they learn and they become a better speaker just from interacting with you and having been in the world of Speakers Who Dare. So I thank you for that.
Oh, it's my absolute pleasure. Thank you for sharing that, Marissa. And I know Jamie and I feel strongly about creating this community. And I say often, no might mean not yet. So keep applying, keep showing up, keep getting onto stages. And when you apply and go through this process over and over again, you get better and better at it. So really keep applying for any and all speaking events in order to elevate your voice on that big stage.
And it's just a testament to the heart that you have. And you mentioned Jamie Broderick was interviewed on this mini-series a couple of episodes ago. She is your co-producer for Speakers Who Dare. It's such a testament to your heart in wanting to develop and bring speakers along, that you nurture that persistence and that growth. And it's not a yes or no, it's this is where we are and this is how we can move further.
Absolutely. It's my responsibility as a director and a producer to be honest with where speakers are in the process. And if I were to put somebody on stage before they were ready and they fell flat on their face, that would be devastating, not only for them, but for my show. So I take the role of curator incredibly seriously, because it's my job to elevate people, to support them, to communicate what I need and to direct them, but also to nurture speakers. Because you can't go from 0 to 100. You need to walk that line. You need to work on your craft. You need to work on your confidence and your communication skills. And you've seen time and time again, Marissa, that I will not take somebody 1 year and then I will watch them work on their craft and then they will be ready the next year. So no means not yet.
Yeah, it's beautiful to watch and to experience personally. Trisha, one of the things that I love most about you is that, at least from my perspective, for you, what it means to use your voice has to do with enabling other people's voices. So that brings us to our first big question in today's interview. And I'd love for you to share in your own words, what does it mean to you to be a woman who is using her voice?
For me, using my voice means not caring about what anyone thinks about what I'm doing, not caring about how anybody might respond to what I'm putting out there in terms of my content, my social media, because my objective is to make the world a better place. And I have to relentlessly go after that. And if my voice becomes small because I concern myself with what other people are going to think or to say about me, then I am doing a disservice to all of the people that I'm here to support. So having my voice be fully embodied without worrying about how people are going to respond to me has given me a freedom and an authenticity that is actually being responded to. And I think that's what's missing. If people concern themselves with, well, what if I'm seen this way? Or what if people perceive me as being like this? You are getting in the way, and you're actually filtering that beautiful, authentic, mindful voice that you want to speak with. So I encourage everyone who has a thought process, who has a voice, who has a, what if I say it and it's wrong? Who cares? You can apologize if you make a mistake. You can retract something if you quote someone incorrectly. But withdrawing and not giving the world your accurate, true, authentic voice means you are preventing someone out there who needs to hear it from experiencing that. And you are preventing someone out there who needs to hear it. You're preventing them from being healed by what it is you have to say.
So beautiful. So many important points that you brought up. I love sort of the paradox that you hit upon, which is that sometimes we may feel that we are being of service to others if we censor or tailor our message, our personality, our voice to be more palatable to other people, or even what we perceive other people might want, because we can only even guess at that. But in reality, when we make ourselves small, we are doing a disservice to the very people we are trying to please.
That's so well said.
The other thing that really stood out for me, Trisha, in what you were saying is that there's someone out there who needs to hear what you have to say right now. And I think that can be a huge trap that people can fall into. This myth that we have to have attained some level of perfection in order for our message to be valuable, when in reality, it's where we are in the journey that can be valuable to someone, imperfections and all. I wonder if you could speak to that a little bit.
We are all human beings, getting up in the morning, going to bed at the end of the day. When we think about our goal, which is hopefully to make the world a better place, help people, serve in some way, and I know that you and I believe strongly in the serving and the supporting of others. When we put that first, then any kind of hiccup, roadblock, mistake falls away so quickly, because we're going after what it is we want, which is to make the world a better place, to serve others, to elevate, to contribute, to leave a legacy. So all the stuff that happens along the way, because there will be stuff that happens along the way, just like when you take a big stage and your body betrays you, physiologically, things are going to go down. But if you're focused on the message, if you're focused on the goal, which is the legacy or the impact, then all that stuff falls away rather quickly, and you can recover from any mistakes or any moments where you're like, I wish I hadn't said that on social media or whatever. However, I do want to say, as communicators, as women who understand the power of our voices, we must be conscious of what we're putting forward. So I don't say we have to be perfect, but I do say we have to be mindful and dignified in how we speak, how we present, and how we communicate. And that's really, really important.
I'm so glad that you brought that up, because I think that it's a message that's come through in several of the interviews that I've had, this being true to yourself, being authentic. And it can't be said enough. It is absolutely true and important. But you bring up a complementary idea that is equally as important, and that is that with that authenticity comes the responsibility to carry ourselves in a dignified manner and to be mindful of our responsibility to kindness, to decency, and to the dignity of the people with whom we're interacting.
Without question. Right now, there's a lot of undignified and irresponsible communication happening from Washington, from the White House, men and women.
Sure.
And I find it really irresponsible that these human beings aren't conscious of the power of their voice. And when we as women especially step into the role of communicator, we need to understand that that is not gender exclusive. We must own that we are communicators, and allowing ourselves to fall into the, as a woman, I must be overbearing, or as a woman, I must back off. Take gender out of the
Yes.
equation and simply own your voice, because you know you have something impactful and important to say, and speak it with an authority and a credibility that you are walking into the room with.
I love that. It's not about apologizing. It's not about coming at this from a position of, I need to compensate, I need to make up for something. It's also about not having a chip on our shoulder, but
Right.
just going forth as ourselves, centered, grounded in our own dignity, and completely in love with the dignity of the people who we're speaking with. Jamie Broderick, whom we mentioned earlier, is watching live, and she agrees. Looks like she is saying um, to, yes, focus on the message. Thank you, Jamie, for joining us here. Trisha, this leads really beautifully into my next question for you, and that is, what advice do you have for a woman who is not sure of how to claim her voice in these situations of wanting to be a communicator and wanting to get her message and her voice out into the world?
When a woman is not certain on how to claim her voice, the first question I would like for her to ask herself is why? And if that has to do with imposter syndrome or confidence, or not having all of the information, or not being ready, those things need to be identified and addressed. So imposter syndrome, do the homework, become credible. Credibility, do the homework, become credible. If you aren't ready, you're not going to be ready tomorrow. So I say start today and figure it out as you go along. I think that finding your voice is an excuse. Owning your voice and choosing today is the day that I'm going to use it, because again, there is one person out there who will respond and who will be served by me speaking. So not being ready, not knowing if it's time, it's time and you are ready. And back to the beginning of our conversation, Marissa, who cares if you make a mistake? Who cares if you aren't the perfect version of yourself? Until you start, you will hold yourself back, and you will hold someone else back. So I say we must go after it. We must take action as well. So if you begin to step into your role as communicator, it also means taking the action to continue doing so, to putting yourself out there, to practicing this art form, to putting yourself in conversations with other people so that you can become more articulate and you can become more easy when it is about having that conversation.
I love it. You spoke my magic language here in saying that there's really no such thing as finding your voice. I personally think that's a myth. I think we use that phrase all the time. People talk about finding their voice like they're placing an ad on social dating or something like that, like seeking voice that is nice but not overbearing, and whatever the case might be. You don't need to find your voice. You have one. You have a voice. And so it's just a matter of connecting with what's already inside of you and doing the other thing that you said that really thrilled me, which is recognizing that it is an art form, and that involves discipline. It involves a practice. It involves putting work in, just like a relationship does, right? We should have a relationship with our own voice, and so the developing of that is a deepening of understanding that only comes when we put the time and the effort and the work in and take it seriously.
I think also what you're saying resonates with me because it's your voice. And when you understand that your point of view, who you are in the world, is why your voice matters, then you can let go of the whole idea of finding your voice. Harper Lee wrote To Kill a Mockingbird through the point of view of Scout. She strategically, creatively wrote the point of view through a young girl so that we as the reader could take in the intense racism that she is talking about in this book. If it had come from adults, we would probably not be able to bear it. But because this young girl is seeing this story and she is telling it through her beautiful, sweet eyes, we hear it. That is a beautiful example of point of view and why hearing Scout's voice teaches us everything.
Wow. That I had never thought of that way before. So thank you so much for sharing that example. I think it beautifully illustrates the need for all voices, regardless of age, gender, perspective, or any other demographic that we might fall into. Every voice is needed and has value.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Trisha, where can people find you?
You can find me at trishabrouk.com, and I'm all over social media, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter.
Fantastic. Tell us some things that are coming up that you might want folks to be aware of.
Well, Jamie Broderick, my co-producer, my partner in crime, and we are gearing up to make the first announcement of our first round of speakers, which is super exciting. And that event happens March 24th, pardon me, in New York City.
Yes.
I just founded the Big Talk Academy membership community because I really feel strongly about giving speakers a safe space to be supported and to support one another and to be able to brainstorm about ideas and have this really incredible community. And the Speaker Salon is happening in May in New York City. So between the Speaker Salon, the Big Talk Academy, Speakers Who Dare, and my films, I'm super excited about how my voice keeps showing up everywhere loud and clear.
Phenomenal. And speaking as everyone in your audience, we're excited for it too. We'll be sure to put those links in the comments when the show is posted afterwards. Any last thoughts, Trisha, to share with everybody?
I think if you walk into a room and trust that what you have to say matters and let go of any other misunderstandings that we might be having with ourselves, you are going to have the kind of impact that will surprise you and will continue to help elevate you to the place that you need to be with your voice.
Fantastic. I thank you so much for sharing yourself and your voice with us today.
Thank you, Marissa.
I would like to end today's broadcast on a special note. Tomorrow would have been my dad's 77th birthday. And so I would like to dedicate this episode of The Power of Women Using Their Voices to him. He is the person in my life who was perhaps one of the greatest catalysts for me connecting with my own voice. And it is my great hope that in wherever he is right now, he is looking down and proud of how that has developed and how it has been of service to the world, hopefully, and will continue to do so. So, Dad, thank you, and I dedicate this episode to you. Trisha, thank you, and everyone, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode of The Power of Women Using Their Voices.